Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick video to update you with what's happening with my Bitcoin and Ether investments. So I have sold some Bitcoin and Ether, and before we get into the details, let me explain why. So here is the Bitcoin daily chart, and as you can see here, the market has been stuck in the range between 50K and about 46K or so, okay, in this 4K range. So from a technical perspective, you can see initially the market made a very strong push to the upside, followed by a pullback, another push to the upside, followed by a small consolidation, another push. But this last push you can see here is a lot shorter than the previous ones. So let me do a quick technical, add some technicals here. So this first push here was about 45%. And then the second push was about, let's say, at 29%, 30%, okay? So from 44 or 45 to about 30. And now this last push here, let me delete this. Okay, and now for the last push, it made it up to about just about shy of 15%. So as you can see, sorry about that. So as you can see, the push has been shorter and shorter, all right? So this means that the momentum is slowing. The momentum in the up move is slowing. And if we look at the weekly chart here, we can see the market has actually been rising 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row non-stop. And this week it's looking a little bit bearish, okay? So I don't know what's going to happen from here. Nobody knows. But what I do know from the daily chart again is that the upward momentum is slowing. So this is getting me a little bit concerned. Okay, this is for the Bitcoin chart. Let's before we talk more about this, let's quickly go to the Ethereum chart here. Quite a similar case, except that there wasn't much of a pullback for this rally over here, and now the market has consolidated between the 3,300 and the 3,000 level. All right, so about $300 range here. So again, if we look at the weekly chart here, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of strong move to the upside. Last week was a little bit bearish, but it was still quite strong, quite a strong push to the upside. You can see this wick here, this shadow here. Okay, so that indicates to me that the market is continues to be bullish. All right, but this week so far, it is Friday. So we can see the market tried to push above last week's high, but did not manage to maintain that price. And now it has fallen down back near the middle of last week's candle over here. All right, so the upward momentum is clearly slowing down. Okay, back to the daily chart here. You can see once again, push to the strong push to the upside and a consolidation. Now, my concern now is that I am 75% allocated of my full investment position, right? And so when I see this, I think the chances of the market price falling from here seems higher than the chances of the market price continuing to move up. Of course, the market price can continue to move up. Again, nobody knows the future. But given that I am so heavily invested right now, and given that most of my positions are in profit, I would like to be a little bit more prudent and trim my positions. Okay, let me bring up some slides here. Okay, so here I'm saying that I'm selling some Bitcoin and Ethereum because of the reasons I mentioned earlier. And before I continue, I want to emphasize that the vault method is about long-term holding. All right, so I don't want to be actively jumping in and out of positions. Now, this being said, I think feeling comfortable with my investment positions is important. So it's a fine line between holding for the long term and making sure that I'm comfortable with whatever my current position is. And right now, my current position isn't too comfortable. Okay, so how do I think about this? How do I balance the two, right? How, in terms of holding for the long term and being comfortable with my position now that the situation has changed, and I think there's some possibility of the market price falling. Okay, it's a higher possibility of the market price falling compared to going up. if I compare the situation now to, let's say, a week or two ago. Okay, so how I think about this is through a minimum regret framework. All right, so I ask myself, would I regret it more if the market price fell while I am 75% allocated, or if the market price rose while I am 50% allocated? Which is more painful to me? Okay, and in my case, it's more painful to me if the market price fell while I am 75% allocated. All right, so this is a more conservative approach. I wouldn't mind it as much if I trimmed my positions from 75% to 50% and the market rose. All right, that is what I would regret less. So based on this framework, I think it makes more sense to me to trim my positions back down to 50%. Okay, so here I have updated the spreadsheet. 27th of August, that's today. So I sold my positions that I took on the 23rd. Okay, if you remember, I entered the first half of my second batch, and now I am removing that liquidity. I'm removing the amount that I added on the 23rd. Okay, so this is the amount of Bitcoin that I would be selling, and this is the amount of Ethereum or Ether that I'm selling. And my available capital now, once again, is back to 50%. So I am 50% allocated. I did make a little bit of profit on those positions, on these two earlier positions that I took on the 23rd. Now that I sold them, I locked in a 0.6 and a 0.8%. Not that meaningful, but it's a profit nonetheless. Okay, so I'm back once again to 50% allocated of my prior positions taken on the 4th and the 10th of August. Okay, so this is just another part of the journey. I wish I could say that the investment journey is clean and simple, and I guess in certain ways it could be. But for me personally, I would like to be to feel more comfortable with whatever investment decisions I take for myself, and so I decided today to lighten up on my positions. Okay, so this is just an update to what I've been doing. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.